Hello, I'm Ryan.
Hello, I am Amy. Welcome to Listen to English Podcast.
Today's episode is all about daily life English phrases for speaking fluently.
That's right. You know, it's amazing how many people learn English grammar and vocabulary,
Right.
but then they freeze up in real-life conversations.
It's so true.
Mastering common phrases can really help to bridge that gap
For sure.
and make your English sound much more natural.
It appears that many language learners, they hit a wall when it comes to actually using the language in real-life conversations.
Yes.
They might know the grammar rules and vocabulary, but struggle to put it all together smoothly.
It's like having all the ingredients but not knowing the recipe.
Yeah.
You need those everyday phrases to really bring your English to life.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with casual conversations.
Okay.
What are some phrases that can help us navigate those everyday interactions?
Well, one of the most common greetings in English is, "How's it going?"
Yeah.
It's a friendly and informal way to ask someone how they're doing. But it's important to note that it's not usually a genuine inquiry about their well-being.
Oh, really?
It's more of a social lubricant just to kind of get the conversation flowing.
So it's like saying, hey, what's up?
Exactly.
But without actually expecting a detailed answer.
Exactly. It's all about acknowledging the other person and showing that you're open to chatting. But
Right.
here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay,
The way you deliver this phrase can make a big difference.
I see.
Your tone of voice and your body language can convey whether you're genuinely interested or just making small talk.
I remember once I tried using how's it going
Yeah.
with a shopkeeper in London,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I came across as like overly enthusiastic because she looked at me like I was from another planet.
Oh, no.
I guess I need to work on my delivery.
Context is key, too.
Okay.
While "how's it going" is fine for informal settings like cafes or shops.
Right.
It might sound a little out of place in a more formal environment like a business meeting.
Yeah, that's true.
In those situations, I would say stick with "how are you?" It would
Wow.
be more appropriate.
So it's about reading the room and adjusting your language accordingly.
Precisely. Now, let's say you're in a conversation
Oh,
and
no.
someone is explaining something to you.
Uh-huh.
What are some phrases that you can use to show that you're following along?
Well, I see what you mean, comes to mind.
Yes.
It's a simple way to signal understanding and agreement
Right.
without interrupting the flow of the conversation.
That's a good one. And you can also use "that makes sense,"
Okay.
especially if someone has provided a reason or a justification for something.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you're not only listening, but also actively processing the information.
So both phrases convey understanding,
Yes.
but that makes sense.
Mm.
Implies a deeper level of comprehension.
Yes. And it also shows that you're connecting the dots
Okay.
and seeing the logic behind the explanation.
Yeah.
It's a subtle but powerful way to demonstrate your engagement in the conversation.
And what about when you want to express agreement
Okay.
or support someone's idea?
Absolutely is a great option.
Yeah.
It's a strong and enthusiastic way to show that you're on the same page.
Right.
It's like saying, "I totally agree," or "you're spot on."
I use absolutely all the time.
Yep.
It's one of my go-to phrases for showing enthusiasm and agreement.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I feel like I overuse it and it kind of loses its impact.
That's a good point. It's important to vary your language
Okay.
and not rely too heavily on any one phrase.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you risk sounding repetitive or even insincere.
Right. So maybe I should try sprinkling in some other phrases. Like, I couldn't agree more, or that's a great point, to mix things up.
Exactly. The key is to have a toolbox of phrases at your disposal
Okay.
and choose the ones that best fit the context and your intended meaning.
This is really making me think about the nuances of everyday English. It's not just about knowing the words,
Right.
but also understanding how to use them effectively.
And that's where practice comes in. The more you expose yourself to real-life conversations, the better you'll become at navigating these subtle but important aspects of communication.
Absolutely.
You know? Okay, so we've covered some essential phrases for casual conversations. Now let's move on to another common situation, ordering food. I know I used to get butterflies in my stomach whenever I had to order food in a foreign language.
Oh, yeah. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It can be a bit nerve-wracking, especially when you're hungry and everyone's waiting for you to decide.
But don't worry, with a few key phrases, you can navigate the situation with ease. One of the most basic and versatile phrases is, "Can I have?"
Right.
It's polite, it's straightforward, and it works in almost any restaurant or cafe.
Yeah, I've used that one before. It always feels safe and it gets the job done. But what if you want to sound a bit more assertive or informal?
In those cases, you could say, "I'll take,"
Yeah.
It implies that you've already made up your mind and are ready to order. It's a subtle shift in tone, but it can make you sound more confident.
And what about when you're not sure what something is on the menu or need to ask about ingredients?
What is your friend here?
Okay.
For instance, you could ask, what is the soup of the day? Or what is in the pasta primavera?
Right.
It shows that you're interested in learning more and ensures that you get exactly what you want.
That's a good tip. I often find myself hesitant to ask too many questions,
Uh-huh.
but I realize it's better to be clear than to end up with a dish I don't like.
Absolutely. And speaking of clarifying things, what about when you need to ask about the price?
Yeah.
It can be a bit awkward, especially in countries where bargaining is common.
Oh, yes. I've been in situations where I was too embarrassed to ask about the price and ended up overpaying.
A simple, how much is this? Will do the trick. You
Yeah.
can point to the item on the menu or in the shop and ask politely.
Right.
It's important to remember that inquiring about the price is perfectly normal and expected in most cultures.
Okay, so we've covered ordering, and now comes the crucial part, paying the bill.
Mm-hmm.
How do you politely ask if they accept credit cards?
Do you take card?
Mm-hmm.
Is a short and sweet way to find out. It's become increasingly common for businesses to accept cards, but it's always best to check,
Right.
especially if you're in a smaller establishment or a foreign country.
That's happened to me before. I once assumed a restaurant would take cards and ended up having to run to an ATM to withdraw cash.
Oh, no.
It was quite embarrassing.
It's always good to be prepared. So for ordering food, we have, can I have? I'll take. What is? How much is this? And do you take card?
Right.
These phrases will equip you to handle most dining situations with confidence.
I'm already feeling more prepared for my next restaurant adventure. What about situations where we need help, like asking for directions or assistance?
Those can be tricky, especially when you're in a new place and feeling a bit lost. But don't worry, a few well-chosen phrases can make all the difference.
I remember once I was hopelessly lost in Tokyo trying to find my way back to the hotel.
Uh-huh.
I knew the word for hotel,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't string together a coherent sentence to ask for directions.
It appears that a lot of language learners experience similar situations. The key is to have a go-to phrase that you can use in any situation. Excuse me, can you help me? Is a good starting point.
Okay.
It's polite, it's direct, and it immediately signals that you need assistance.
It's a good one. It's simple but effective.
Mm.
What if you need more specific help, like finding a particular location?
In that case, you can follow up with, I'm looking for,
Okay.
and then state the place you're trying to find.
Uh,
For example, I'm looking for the train station, or I'm looking for the nearest pharmacy.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like providing a clear target for the person you're asking for help.
exactly. It gives them the context they need to provide you with the right information.
Okay.
But what happens when you don't understand the response or the person is speaking too fast?
Oh, that's a common problem for me.
Hmm.
Sometimes accents or the speed of speech can make it difficult to comprehend everything.
Don't hesitate to ask for clarification.
Okay.
You can politely say, could you say that again, please? Or could you speak a bit slower?
Right.
Most people are happy to repeat or rephrase if you ask nicely.
That's reassuring to know. I often feel embarrassed to ask people to repeat themselves,
Uh-huh.
but I realize it's much better to ask than to pretend you understand and end up going in the wrong direction.
Exactly. Clear communication is essential, especially when you're relying on someone else's help. And remember, a smile and a thank you go a long way in showing your appreciation.
So for asking for help, we have, excuse me, can you help me? I'm looking for, could you say that again, please? And could you speak a bit slower?
Yeah.
These phrases cover a wide range of situations, from getting directions to seeking assistance with a problem.
Precisely. With these phrases in your toolkit, you'll be better equipped to handle those moments when you need a helping hand.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about practical tips and phrases today, but what about the mental side of language learning? I think it's easy to get caught up in the technical aspects, and forget about the importance of mindset.
That's a crucial point. Our attitude and our beliefs about our ability to learn can significantly impact our progress. It appears that having a positive mindset, believing in yourself and embracing challenges as opportunities for growth can make all the difference.
So it's like having an inner cheerleader constantly rooting for us and reminding us that we can do it.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a growth mindset where you see mistakes as stepping stones rather than setbacks. It's about celebrating small victories and acknowledging how far you've come.
I remember when I first started learning English, I was so focused on speaking perfectly that I was afraid to even open my mouth. I was constantly comparing myself to native speakers and feeling inadequate.
Yeah, it's a common trap to fall into, especially in today's world, where we're bombarded with images and messages of perfection. It's easy to feel like we're not good enough.
But I realize that perfection is an illusion and that the real joy of language learning comes from the process of discovery and connection.
Absolutely. It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns. It's about the thrill of understanding a new phrase, the satisfaction of holding a conversation with someone from another culture, and the sheer joy of expressing yourself in a new way.
So how can we cultivate this positive mindset and overcome those moments of self-doubt?
One helpful strategy is to surround yourself with supportive people, people who encourage you and believe in you. It could be a language partner, a tutor, or even a group of fellow learners who understand the challenges and celebrate the triumphs.
Yeah, having a community of like-minded individuals can make a huge difference. It creates a safe space to practice, make mistakes, and learn from each other.
Another powerful tool is to focus on your progress no matter how small it may seem. Keep a journal, track your achievements, and remind yourself of how far you've come. It's easy to get discouraged when you're fixated on what you haven't mastered yet, but celebrating your wins can boost your motivation and keep you moving forward.
I love that idea. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back for every step you take in the right direction.
And remember, language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be days when you feel frustrated or stuck, but it's important to persevere and trust the process.
So be kind to yourself, celebrate your achievements, and never give up on your dream of speaking English fluently.
Now, before we wrap up, we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. We've explored various phrases and tips for everyday English, but how do you see language learning enriching your life beyond the practical benefits?
That's a great question. I think it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. It allows us to connect with people from different cultures, understand different perspectives, and broaden our horizons. It's like gaining a new lens through which to view the world.
Beautifully said. It's about fostering empathy and understanding, breaking down barriers, and embracing the richness of human diversity.
On that note, we want to thank you for joining us on this episode of Listen to English podcast. We hope you found it insightful and encouraging.
Remember, keep practicing those daily life phrases, stay curious, and never stop exploring the wonderful world of language learning.
Until next time, happy learning.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners like you. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new episode, and by liking the video, you're letting us know you want more helpful content. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us.